Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I'm Rory McLennan coming to you from Glasgow, Scotland. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. The Holy See has issued a communique explaining that Pope Francis has made numerous interventions for peace in war-torn Ukraine. In the statement, the Vatican said that the pontiff always condemns the Russian aggression as morally unjust and sacrilegious. However, the Holy Father speaks as a pastor who defends life and not as a politician, as per the statement. The statement was issued after the Ukrainian foreign minister and the envoy to the Holy See criticised the Holy Father for condoling the killing of Daria Dugina, the daughter of Russian political analyst and Putin ally Alexander Dugin. Ms. Dugina was recently killed in a car bomb explosion in Moscow. The Vatican made it clear that the Pope's words on this issue should be interpreted as a voice raised in defence of human life and the values associated with it. The Holy See added that they should not be seen as the Pope taking a political stance. Mikhail Gorbachev, the Russian leader who changed the course of modern history by paving the way for reforms that eventually led to the collapse of the Soviet Union, has died in Moscow at the age of 91. The former president of the USSR died at a central hospital after a prolonged illness. Between 1985 and 1991, he thawed the frozen relations between his country and the United States and ushered in reforms through his epoch-making policies of glasnost and perestroika. While the former ushered in political freedom in the country, the latter was aimed at overhauling the economy through free market practices. These reforms gradually led to the fall of communism and the disintegration of the Soviet Union in the early 90s. This led to the emergence of several new republics in Central Asia and in Europe. The late leader was also given the Nobel Peace Prize for negotiating a nuclear arms deal with US President Ronald Reagan. United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres hailed the leader as a one-of-a-kind statesman who altered the course of history. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said he admired Mr. Gorbachev's courage and integrity. Egyptian President Abdel Fateh Al Sisi has granted a plot of land to the Coptic Catholic Church in Cairo for the construction of a pediatric hospital dedicated to the infant Jesus. It will be the first hospital dedicated to the child Jesus in the country where neonatal death is high. The proposed hospital is the initiative of the Cairo Bambino Gesù Association, which is a charitable outfit of the Coptic Catholic priest Father Ioannis Lazi Gaid. The priest is also a member of the High Committee for Human Fraternity and a former personal secretary of Pope Francis. It is through the Human Fraternity Foundation that the Bambino Gesù Association operates. The proposed hospital will be built in the great urban area of Cairo, where the new administrative capital will come up. Coptic Catholic Patriarch Ibrahim Isaac Sidrak also expressed gratitude to President Sisi for granting the plot of land. As the war in Ukraine clocks 6 months, the Polish arm of pontifical aid charity Caritas Internationalis has contributed a significant sum of money for relief efforts. In the first half of this year, Caritas Poland raised €21 million through parish donations and fundraising activities to support humanitarian work for displaced Ukrainians. Half of the amount has been given to Polish diocesan Caritas units that take care of refugees. A smaller amount has been given to religious congregations whose members are working as volunteers with local Caritas units. As much as €134,000 was given to Caritas Ukraine, which belongs to the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church, and Caritas Spes of the Latin Rite. So far, supplies to the tune of €30 million have been distributed in Ukraine. To expedite the humanitarian activities, Caritas Lublin in Poland has acquired a 3,000 square metre warehouse near the border with Ukraine to store essential supplies. British pro-life outfit Society for the Protection of Unborn Children, or SPUC, has said that since May 2022, as many as 69 Catholic churches in the United States have either been torched or vandalised. This is in the wake of the overturning of Roe v. Wade that legalised abortion and the earlier leak of the Supreme Court Justice's opinion regarding the verdict. SPUC also pointed out that there were 64 incidents of pro-life pregnancy centres and organisations being attacked during the same period. There were also incidents of buildings being firebombed by pro-choice activists. The organisation also made a mention of the June the 3rd attack on the Capitol Hill Pregnancy Centre in Washington, D.C. A spokesperson of the outfit said that pro-abortion activists had declared the month of June to be open season on pro-lifers throughout the United States of America. In the statement, the spokesperson said that such violence is unacceptable. The organisation also said that at the root of such brutality is profound insecurity as the pro-life wave sweeps across the United States. In the US state of Indiana, pro-choice supporters filed a lawsuit against the state's abortion restriction law, which is scheduled to take effect on September the 15th, stating that the restriction will strip people's fundamental rights under the state constitution. Pro-choice activists filed a lawsuit in the state court in Monroe County on August the 30th. Against this backdrop, the American Civil Liberties Union filed a lawsuit on behalf of Planned Parenthood Great Northwest, Hawaii, Alaska, Indiana, and Kentucky. Condemning the pro-abortion measure, State Attorney General Todd Rokita has pledged to uphold the restriction and has termed it a life-saving measure. Indiana's law allows abortion only until 10 weeks of gestation if it happens through rape or incest, or if the mother's life is at risk, and in cases of fetal anomalies. African think tank, the Africa Centre for Strategic Studies, has reported that jihadist groups, primarily ISIS and Al-Qaeda, were responsible for 5,110 violent events on the continent last year. These attacks occurred mainly in Somalia, the Western Sahel region, the Lake Chad Basin, northern Mozambique and the Sinai Peninsula. Reports claim that both groups are spreading their influence and jihadist beliefs, making Africa the new epicenter for violence related to religious extremism. ISIS and Al-Qaeda have remained the most active terrorist groups in the world, despite multiple US efforts to target and eliminate their leadership. According to the US State Department's 2020 Annex of Statistical Information, ISIS is represented by 8 affiliates spread across Africa. The jihadist onslaught in the Democratic Republic of Congo shows no sign of abating. In the latest series of attacks on several villages between Thursday and Monday in the eastern part of the country, suspected Islamist militants killed nearly 40 people. According to a local human rights group and a hospital worker, the militants attacked villagers of North Kivu province and others in Ituri province. It is presumed that the attackers were members of the Allied Democratic Forces, or ADF. Decrying the attacks, local human rights worker Christophe Munyanderu said ADF fighters have executed more than 40 men, women and children in 5 villages since Thursday. He further condemned the authorities' negligence for not doing anything about the repeated attacks against civilians. Since November 2021, Congolese and Ugandan security forces have initiated combined attacks against the ADF. The leftist government of Gustavo Petro in Colombia has said that the Latin American nation did not attend the Organization of American States session, as the organization has condemned the attacks on the Catholic Church and non-governmental organizations in Nicaragua. On August the 12th, the OAS Permanent Council ratified a resolution that strongly condemned the forced closure of non-governmental organizations, as well as the harassment and arbitrary restrictions on religious organizations and voices critical of the government and its actions in Nicaragua. A statement published by the Colombian Foreign Ministry said that Bogotá's absence was due to both strategic and humanitarian reasons and not ideological ones. Gustavo Petro, who is an ex-M19 guerrilla, took office as Colombian president on August the 7th. In recent days, President Daniel Ortega of Nicaragua has intensified the persecution against the Catholic Church by expelling the missionaries of charity, closing Catholic media outlets, harassing priests, and keeping the Bishop of Matagalpa, Monsignor Rolando Alvarez, under house arrest. At least 23 protesters were killed in violent clashes in the Iraqi capital Baghdad after influential Iraqi cleric and leader Muqtada al-Sadr announced his resignation from politics on Monday. Protests also broke out in the Shiite-majority southern provinces, with al-Sadr supporters blocking roads in Basra. Hundreds also took part in agitations in Misan. The clashes forced the military to declare a nationwide curfew, and the caretaker Premier Mustafa al-Kadhimi suspended cabinet sessions. The United Nations mission in Iraq urged all parties to refrain from acts that could lead to an unstoppable chain of events. Separately, the Chaldean bishops have raised concern about the future of the nation. In a joint statement, the prelates urged political leaders to expedite the formation of a new government. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us again tomorrow for more. And remember, you can also visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.